Welcome back, everybody. We are going to talk about Guam Resource Recovery Partners right now and their continuing effort to bring a waste-to-energy facility to the island. We have Dave Sablan, of course, and Ken Ormsbee with GRP. Gentlemen, hop it in. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Jason. Thank you.
Okay, so gentlemen, very obvious question we'll lead off with. What are the benefits of a waste-to-energy facility? And for people who, may have just not paid attention to this issue as it's been going on for years and years and years, what exactly does it do and what does it provide for the community?
Well, first of all, the benefits will be we don't have to look for land anymore, within a certain period of time, but we don't have to look for more land to continue to build a landfill and to dump our solid waste there. Once we have the waste-to-energy facility, we can actually reduce the volume of solid waste by 90%. So all we're taking over to the landfill is 10% of what it used to be. And therefore, you can extend the life of any landfill probably upwards of 50, 60 years. So you don't have to look for any more land for a landfill for more than, for around 50 years or longer. Right now, the way it is, we deposit solid waste down at Luzon. Every 8 years, we got to build 2 more cells. And that means every time it fills up, we got to go look for more land. So that's one benefit. The second is that it's much cheaper than what it is now at Luzon. We've done our financial model, and it really works. Third, for the environment, it's much cleaner. We remove our solid waste. We get people from dumping it in the garbage now to putting it in their bins so that we can pick it up. And it becomes basically a fuel source to provide alternate energy. We can produce, for about 300 tons of garbage a day, we can produce about 12 megawatts. If we do 2 modules of this, because we believe that we can produce over 600 tons a day of solid waste on this island, then we would be able to produce 24 megawatts, which is roughly close to 10% of the island-wide power system.
Now, Ken, what's the financing of this whole project and everything? Obviously, this is a initiative that's of great scale, and the scope is really, really big, and it affects so many, not only customers, but affects so many agencies and crosses over into so many different disciplines and everything. How will this all be handled from a monetary standpoint?
Well, one of the great things is that rather than taking solid waste and depositing it in a landfill where it does nothing but costs the government money to manage, you take the waste and use it as a fuel to offset crude oil, which we all know is a very volatile commodity. So what's produced from the waste-to-energy facility is electricity. That electricity is sold and provides revenue to the project, and it becomes a sustainable, self-funding proposition.
Now, I'm not exactly like a man of science. I like to read, and specifically I like to read comic books, but even at that, I know when you burn raw materials and you burn like solid materials especially, there is ash that's created somewhere and everything like that. Where will that ash be deposited?
Yeah, the ash will be treated before it is taken down to the Luzon landfill. Right now, what we got to consider about the Dandan Savannah, where the Luzon landfill is located, is that there's a water table. There are 7 rivers that are fed by the rainfall that comes off that savanna. Fennel Lake is also one of those water bodies that is fed by the water that comes from that savanna. And there's some groundwater underneath there. And so right now we've got this landfill down there at Luzon. Putting solid waste in there, you produce a lot of leachate, which could contaminate the water, and it would take a long time and a lot of money to actually purify for drinking water purposes. With the ash, once we deposit the ash down in Luzon, the ash effectively becomes inert. So even if it leaked into the water table, we just filter it and we can still drink the water. So it's much better to deposit ash down there than it is to deposit solid waste. It's better for us to burn the solid waste in the plant, produce the electricity, which is the byproduct, and then just take the ash down there. And like I said earlier, you're only taking 10% of the volume of that solid waste that was originally sent into the waste-to-energy plant, and therefore the landfill that's down there can go beyond the 8 years that it's been engineered for, and we can probably look at, I said, upwards of probably 40 to 50 years at this point in time.
Mm-hmm. Even with the nature of it being ash, will it naturally biodegrade? I mean, we're talking about a lot of ash.
Yes, well, some of that ash actually can be channeled over to, let's say, some of the concrete producing facilities here, like Hawaiian Rock or Paris Brothers, and they can actually incorporate that into the concrete mix.
To repurpose it?
Yes, that's right. So even less ash goes to the landfill. And I know for a fact, let's say Kilo Wharf, that was built by International Bridge Corporation, they used a lot of fly ash in that construction to mix in with the concrete.
Okay. Well, Ken, your friends, and we'll say that, like at the federal receiver, Gershman, Brinker, and Brand, they have been openly critical of the plan, saying, like it's too costly to the people of the community to the tune of like $500 million. What say you to that criticism?
Well, I don't know where they got their numbers, to be honest with you, Jason. That's one thing about this receiver. He's very speculative in a lot of things that he says. Until he tells me exactly where he got those numbers and what extrapolation he used to arrive at this number, I can't really comment on it, but I can tell you it's not going to be costly to the people of Guam. What we should be concerned about is not the cost of this plant, how much it's going to cost to build it or finance it. What we should be concerned about is how much am I going to pay every month for this service. Right now, you and I are paying probably around $30 a month, $31 a month for the trash to be disposed and picked up by the receiver's company. When this plant goes into operation, it could be anywhere from $12 to $25 per month for the household residents. And right now, the commercial people are paying about $176 a ton for the disposal of that trash when they pick it up from the hotels and the supermarkets. Our approach could be somewhere between $60 to $80 a ton. So you can see that very big difference. And those numbers we stand by, and we've been very transparent. We've announced it and promoted it to the public. We've given it to the governor. We've given it to the legislature. So we are on public record that this is what we're committing if everything follows the financial model that we have put forth.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to talk about Ledzon because you mentioned that like right at the top of the interview. Let's go back to that for a second. Does the waste-to-energy facility that you've been proposing for some time now, does that work in concert with the existing Ledzon landfill, or does it outright replace it?
Actually, the plan that we are proposing to the government is that it becomes part of the solid waste management program. And so we've already invested over $102 million in that landfill down there at Ledzon. We might as well use it and make it a win-win situation. So what we are proposing is that when we burn the solid waste, we bring the ash down there. So it becomes effectively an ash depository from the waste-to-energy plant. We're looking to build actually another landfill to receive the solid waste when the plant comes down for maintenance, about roughly between 4 to 6 weeks every year. And so there we would deposit the solid waste, and this is what we're looking at to build at Guatali. Okay, so when the plant comes down for maintenance, the solid waste will go to Guatali. When it comes back up for operation, the solid waste in the form of ash, 90% less, of course, then goes to Ledzon. And that way, even if we fill it up with ash, it won't harm the water that's there in the savanna.
Okay. Well, last question before we go to commercial break, and either of you can jump in on this. For people that don't know, the project was originally conceived and is being pushed, for going on 2 decades now. Why has it taken essentially so long to come before the Guam legislature, for consideration, if not ultimate approval?
Well, really the license that was issued back in 1982 and then amended in 1990 allowed for this contract to be negotiated, which we did in the early 90s during the ADA administration, and then it was signed in the Gutierrez administration in 96. And we had already proceeded forward to that, but then Senator Ben Pangilinan tried to stop it by law, and it was defeated in the courts, and then he tried to go to the courts to see if he can stop it. And so we spent the next 8 years in court trying to defend this contract. And so, really in the end, I'm sorry, I forgot the question again.
Yeah, how long has it taken that long? And we got to go to commercial break in about 20 seconds. So
yeah. So
as tersely as you can, like, why is it taking this long?
Yeah, well, 8 years we've been in court, unfortunately.
Okay, so it's tied up in the court.
Right.
All right, well, gentlemen, we appreciate the insight. Thank you so much. We'll have you back on in the future.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, stay tuned. We are back right after this.